Well, if you believe in God things, you're going to want to watch this next episode of the Jeff Crilley Show, because I met somebody today and I knew I had to have her on my show. You're going to meet the Icon Connector next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I had the privilege of speaking at a conference today, and I was seated in front waiting to go on, and I met my next guest, and she just has so much light and faith and charisma that I had to have her on my show. Katherine Dawn Funk is in studio. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me come on. It's a surprise.
We both believe in God things, and you were telling me just before the show that God told you to become camera ready today.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is not how I normally just get up in the morning. But
so tell us about how you begin your day and why your faith is so important to you.
Well, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning every day, except for Sundays and Saturdays. I gotta sleep in just a little bit. I'm a single mom with 4 kids, so I really want to take care of my day before my day just hits me. And so I get up and I meditate and pray for about an hour. And I work really hard to be a good receiver. I'm kind of a little bit of a unicorn. I've never drank or smoked or done any type of drugs. I've never even watched a rated R movie because I wanted to have just being a really good receiver. And so I take that time with God and myself for his list first and then mine. Because I know if everything else will fall off that's mine, he'll take care of it later. But I put his list first. And so this morning I was meditating and praying and saying, hey, where should I sit today in the conference? There's all these seats. And he said, sit up in the front right. And I walked in actually a little bit late because my daughter has a fever. So I was doing the mom thing while I'm at this conference. And there was a seat available from somebody else I'd met the day before where I prayed, where do I sit? And then he actually saved it for me. And then you sat down and I was like, I didn't know who you were, but as soon as you sat, I was like, because God said today, life changes here.
Well, people all have an energy that just kind of comes off their body, and she just has this most amazing, pure energy that as soon as I sat down next to her, I said, man, she's special and I need to know more about her. So this is only a 15-minute show. We can't tell your whole story, but one piece of the story I want you to talk about is your battle with obesity. And we've got a picture, and I think when people see this, they wouldn't even believe that it's you. So tell us about that picture that we're watching.
So the picture, that was me at my sister's wedding. We were, of course, in a celebration, and I'm Italian, so, it's like mangia, right? I grew up, my dad was an Italian chef, so there was no moderation of portion control. And everything tasted really good. But culturally, I wanted to change the cultural cadence because I was standing there at the wedding and I was looking around and I was like, I love all these people, but we were all very much not healthy. And my dad's family kept calling saying, hey, big brother Louie. And my dad actually passed away 2 years ago suddenly because of complications to diabetes. And I luckily was able to spend a really great weekend with him. God said, go visit him. And I did, even though I was in the middle of a training. And then 2 days later, he passed away. And I was so grateful I followed that prompting. And so all my family was calling, hey, big brother Louie. He was the oldest of 12, Italian. And he was the first one to get diabetes. And so they were one after another, not all of them, but they were calling and saying, hey, I've got diabetes. And so I'm looking around thinking, oh my gosh, it's coming for me. And I've got these kids. I want to live. Right? And so people, they are motivated by inspiration. And so I just looked at my life and what was I inspired by and what was it worth living for? And that's what made the change. I did a bunch of research, found out that diabetes is not actually hereditary through like genes. It's just a lot of times through your your cultural or your family dynamics. And so I made massive changes, and I lost 115 pounds in about a year and a half. And it was all just nutrition and exercise. When I started, I prayed and I said, Lord, you made my body. Please help me fix it. And I want to do it the right way, because I don't want my kids to watch and see me doing some weird things that are going to create eating behaviors or eating disorders. And so I was able to do it. And, there's been a couple, here and there's where, up and downs just health-wise, but only usually within about 5 to 10 pounds. So it wasn't any like really weird bumps. And it's been off for about 10 years. And I bought a gym. I've helped lots of people. And I became Ms. Idaho with the United States of America system. And just have been able to do modeling and all these other things I never would have done before. And I was beautiful back then, and I had a great body, spirit. Like I never, people suffer from dysphoria, where the world will constantly tell them how to change their life. And I've never changed anything. I'm all natural, no preservatives, as you want to call it, and because I want to help people realize they're beautiful how they are.
Well, you give advice to people who want to follow your path. I guess it begins with a healthy relationship with food. And so what was your relationship before, and what is it now?
Relationship with food, we had a very tight. We were we were very tight, especially the sugars. Because you're eating, you're celebrating your eating. You're sad, you're eating your whatever it is, like family gatherings, holidays. So sugar was very much a conversation piece and something that was sought after. And once I started my journey, that was a major piece that actually I had to remove. I felt so much different. The first 2 weeks, that was unpleasant because it is an addiction, and you can feel it, your body, literally the cravings. And so once I was able to remove it within about 2 to 3 weeks, I felt amazing, and the journey was a lot easier, and I was able to achieve it.
Wow. And you've given us just a little glimpse of your journey. You've had a lot of setbacks. Can you talk about some other challenges that you faced in your young life? 'Cause you look like you're 22.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Well, I'm 43, so.
You look amazing.
Thank you. And I attribute that to, I believe, just taking care of myself as much as I can. And the setbacks, I'm actually writing a book right now. It's called The Reasons to Succeed. And it's really being able to focus on our reasons to succeed. What's our inspiration, not just our motivation, that will get you to the goal instead of just placating to our excuses. And so I have tons of stories from other people of their reasons, how they were overcome and able to reach their goal. And so it's not just about me. I've got stories like, for instance, I went to 4 high schools. I almost didn't graduate because there was so many transition. I'm dyslexic. I struggled, but yet I'm writing. I've got 2.5 books that I'm writing. My editor loves me, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Just twist it around. And
okay, so that's one book. There's another book that's near and dear to your heart.
Yes, that one is very, very special. I had an amazing experience when I was 8, and it's in the book. But it really just brought me to a place where I knew I needed to pay attention to the way that, God, universe, spirit, however you want to call it, but something outside yourself that moves things for your good. Mm-hmm. And sometimes takes you into a challenge, into a hole, potentially, to help bring you closer, so then that way you'll be listening and paying attention more. So that book is actually called The Language of Revelation, and it's all the different ways I've been documenting, and there's a whole key that I'm created that tells you all the different ways that you're being cared for and taken care of, and that you're being communicated with, right? And so that's so important to be able to know that you're not alone.
Well, you're amazing, and I know you've got a plane to catch. So in the little time we have left, I want you to talk about motherhood and the young ladies that you're raising, and what you're hoping to pass on to them. Oh,
well, fantastic. That's a great question. So I have 3 amazing daughters and an amazing son. So quick funny thing is, so I don't know if I put this on here, but we all have the same month and day.
Okay, share again.
So
yeah.
I say I didn't do it. My mom started it, so it's not my fault.
Okay.
So my birthday is 2/2, and my oldest is 4/4. Then we have 7/7, 9/9, and 11/11, and they're all oldest to youngest in consecutive order, but reversed. And a statistician, he's like, "What are the odds?" And I know, right? Everyone's like, "What are the odds?" And it's actually pi. He figured it out, and
wow.
So I'm 1 in 3.4 billion, right? Chance that happens, and so that's one of the ways that God talks to me is he gets my attention. And we actually happen to start this video like right at 4:44, which is actually a number that's it's guided me on this mission thing that here we are to sit today.
So what do you want to pass on to your kids?
Kids wise, yeah, thank you. Bring it back around to the kids. But I really that it's not about just who we are right now today. It's looking 7 generations. And how will 7 generations look back and say, this was the point where this important part of our family made a difference in the world.
Wow. You have been absolutely an amazing guest. People are going to want to get in touch with you. How do they do that?
Well, they can get a hold of me with LinkedIn, or I have a text where you can text ICONIC, and there'll be a number on the bottom of the screen. Also, I'm in social media, Facebook, Instagram, just under Katherine Dawn Funk. I'm setting up my regular profiles for work, but connectedclosers.com, that's where I work with people for luxury branding and services. And so that's really my hub there. But yeah, there'll be lots of other ways. We've got lots of other things, lots of things in the works.
I love it. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
That's
Pleasure.
it for now. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.